Hello, welcome back. Happy Monday, or as happy as it can be. Hi guys, welcome to the second week in our Live from My Garage series. I'm just gonna wait a few minutes while people keep start coming in. I see some people joining us now, which is awesome. I have missed you guys. Hi, Stephanie. It was, you know, even though we're doing the same thing every day, the weekend did feel a little different to me. I guess maybe the pressure being off to kind of keep my kids doing something to stimulate their mind was the main difference. But, you know, this is going to be some interesting times ahead with all this time off from school. In any case, hi Tammy. I'm glad you're here today. We are going to be making one of my very favorite projects on my blog. And hi Shauna. And I can't wait to share this with you. Now this project is the coolest project on my blog, probably. There's a couple others that probably could vie for first place as well. Hi Kim. Hi Janet. But this is also one of the most complicated projects. So I'm glad you guys, parents, if you're here with your kids, I hope you'll be available for them because they're probably gonna need a little bit of help with this. Hi Hannah. But I'm excited to share this because if you can get this thing, you know, folded correctly and moving, it is just, it's an awesome project. Before we get started, I just want to say hi to my friend Sarah and her kids Joaquin and Odessa. They are in Philadelphia. I talked to them last night. Sarah is a nurse, and so I've been thinking a lot about her as we're going through all this, all these health challenges. And so if you know a nurse or have somebody in your family that's working on the front lines of everything, you know, give them a shout out, a text, call, whatever it is. Make sure that they know that you're thinking of them and they are supported. All right. So let's go. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around. Oh, actually, one more thing first. Maybe I should do this when the camera's turned around. I just released a second week of activities for you guys. This is a printable guide. It's free. It's on my blog, and I put the link in the description below. So last week I gave out week 1, and now I have week 2. We have different themes. So we've got DIY toys, recycled projects, paper projects, which is what this is part of. There's a few templates in there. So there's a lot of good stuff if you're just looking for things, you know, for your kids to stay busy with. And kids, these are all projects that you can do using stuff you probably have sitting around at your house and didn't even know could make something super cool. All right, so let's turn this around and get started. Hi, Meyer. Okay, hold on. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna flip my camera. I'm gonna flip my lights on now that the camera's turned around. Okay. All right, you guys, so let me just show you what this is first. And by the way, here's a little sneak peek at the guide. So go ahead later today, or if you haven't already, because if you're here with the template, you probably already downloaded this. This is my marked up copy. But go ahead and print this guide out. There's a lot of cool projects in here, okay? All right, this project is on page 8. Now, it's also on my blog as a separate project, which I'll throw a link in. I didn't direct you guys there because it's not quite as easy to get the download on that particular page, but it does have a lot of good troubleshooting advice on that page, so I will throw a link in there as well. And maybe I'll make the template a little easier to get. Right now you have to opt into my email list to get it, etc., etc. I just wanted you guys to get this template and get over here and let's make this already. So these are Flextangles, and I want to start off by saying that there's, I made that name up. This is actually a flexagon. Okay, flexagons were paper toys that were invented in 1939 by a graduate student named Arthur Stone. He was a graduate student at Princeton, and he invented these amazing little paper puzzles and flexing. They're basically 3D models. There's a whole bunch of them. This particular model is called a kaleidocycle, but when we did this project years ago when I first came out with the template, I named it a Flextangle because I combined, this is more of the kaleidocycle idea, but when you start layering these kind of designs onto it, it looked to me like a Zentangle project. Zentangle is a sort of meditative, doodly type of drawing method. And so to me, it was kind of like the combination of those two projects. A flexagon meets a Zentangle, hence the term Flextangle. The funny thing is, over the years, this project is very, very popular. And I've gotten so many people now calling it Flextangles. So you can actually Google Flextangles, and a lot of people have adopted that name. And I've always wondered if they really knew the origins of it, which are I made it up. Sometimes being on the internet is fun for that reason. All right, you guys. So what you're going to need today is, and I see a FedEx truck coming, so I don't know if there's a delivery coming here. But anyways, kids, grab your template right here. Grab some pens. I'm borrowing my daughter's really nice special drawing pens. It's cool if you have both pens, like colorful pens, and finer markers or finer pens that you can use to add details. So get all these things arranged, and I'm going to make sure that mine's in frame here. Good. You're going to need scissors. You're going to need a glue stick and some tape. Now this project we're going to get comfy on because this takes a little while. And I'm happy that I get to show it to you in person. I've actually never demoed this live because on YouTube I get a lot of questions about this project. A lot of people saying it's not working or having problems, and I always wanted to do a demo so I could kind of showcase where the trouble spots are and help people get over them. So today is the day. All right, so as a preview, I did this earlier. We are going to be coloring our template, and this is the area in which we're coloring. I have a pattern guide here because when you rotate these, the patterns are what we see on one face as we rotate. So the B's will all be one side, A's, etc. So that's why there's a pattern guide. So if you are you can draw however you want on here, but if you want to make this look kind of like a kaleidoscope, you might want to consider putting the colors as per the pattern guide. So follow the A's and make them one sort of pattern. The B's could be a separate pattern, C's and D's, etc. And then you'll really have a distinction when you rotate it between that will look like a kaleidoscope. Also on the guide I have tick marks. So if you want your designs to rotate and connect, you can use those tick marks as guides to connect, okay? So since we're doing this project together, let's settle in. Let's start coloring this in. Since I'm using my daughter's fancy alcohol-based markers, I'm putting some paper under my template only because these markers bleed, but if you're just using regular water-based markers, that's fine. You should be fine. You don't have to put extra pages underneath. And let's get started. So I typically like to put the color, well, you could do it either way actually. You could put the colors down first or the details. I kind of do a mixture. I'm probably going to make this one a little bit easier for you guys, so I'm not going to sit here and do this forever, because really you can. With these, you can, that's what I mean, that's why I likened it to Zentangles. You really can kind of get in this Zen frame of mind by just drawing or doodling on here. So I'm going to start with doing some big colored areas, and then we'll go ahead and add details. So kids, go for it. Now is your moment to start working. Okay, I'm gonna do this because I realized, so these ends match. So if I put a line here, I should probably have a line here so that they match when they are rotated, okay? Now this is also a project, you guys, where we're gonna really get going with folding. I've said it in a couple videos before, but when we do our folds later on, I want you to make sure that you have the crispest, is that, that's a surprisingly harder word to say. You want really crisp folds, okay? Because this particular puzzle will not rotate very well if you have sloppy folds. It's just, you need that kind of crispness to get it to work properly. I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep going with this like kaleidoscope design here. So how do you get crisp folds? I'll talk about it when we're doing it later, but the way I like to do it is to drag when I do my initial fold, I fold it down the line just to make sure I got it in the right spot. And then I go ahead and I drag my fingernail across the fold line. You can also use the edge of a pen. You can use a coin if you have a coin edge. That also works. The idea is mainly that you get a really crisp fold. All right, let's do this. I hope you guys had a good weekend. It was really rainy here in LA yesterday, which honestly is kind of nice. We always could use the rain here, so and it makes staying in a little easier sometimes when the weather is cold. We did some, I highly recommend this, you guys. Watch some funny movies. We've started watching, trying to do more movie nights with our family, and we watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure on Friday night, and I hadn't seen that movie in a long time. It was I remember going to see it at the theater when I was a kid. It's fun, you guys. It's really fun. Kids, you'll love it. My kids thought it was hilarious. So I'm gonna institute a comedy only rule in our house, I think, while we're all staying at home and staying safe, because it's, you know, let's laugh. Let's see the humor. All right. I hope you guys are doing this and you're just coming along with your designs. This is a fun one where you can really play with color too. I always like to use the different patterns like this to try different color schemes. Because then it's surprising as you rotate it, you get these little surprises. These little bursts of color that you didn't expect. Now, if you're not following the pattern guide, that's totally fine. We've had a lot of our campers and students, sometimes they just doodle as they please on here. It will work the same. It might not look, it will look a little different, but it will totally work just the same. So I leave that up to you guys, how you want to handle the design work on this. I love these. These markers were the type of markers that I used to have in architecture school. And I forgot how great they are. My daughter loves these. Okay, so we're getting close here. I think I'll do a little pop of color in the middle maybe on some of these. And then I'm going to add some details in black. So you guys go ahead and maybe keep working, add details, add your colors if you want. Test that out. And then we'll grab our dark pens in a minute, our kind of contrasty pens. Let's do, why don't we do a dark one here in the middle? Ooh, that's fun. So I hope you guys are using this chance at home to maybe reconnect, like I mentioned earlier. These are definitely times where it's really nice to connect with our friends and family that maybe we haven't talked to in a while. Make sure they're okay, make sure everyone's staying safe, and, you know, brighten someone's day. It was really nice to talk to my friend last night. All right, I'm almost ready here. Okay, so I could stop here, But the Zentangle aspect of this is fun. It just looks cooler when you have these kind of detailed areas. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take a black pen now, and I'm going to start doing a little bit of just outlining to just get some detail and contrast. A couple of websites you guys should check out while I'm just doodling here. I'm going to be doing some talking. A couple of other really cool websites to see. My friend Anne at Left Brain Craft Brain is starting to do some live videos this week. She also does a lot of cool STEAM projects, you guys, so I highly recommend her blog. The technique I'm using now where you outline your drawing with a dark pen. This is something I learned from my friend Kathy Barbaro, who used to teach art at our school. Her blog is Art Projects for Kids. If you guys like to draw, she has really cool how to draw tutorials. So that's another cool thing to check out. She always had the kids outline a lot of their work in Sharpie, and it just really makes things pop. So now I'm going to take, this is looking pretty good, I'm going to take a fine-tipped pen like this, and I'm just going to add some detail like this. These are the finer details. Let me make sure I'm still in frame for you guys. Cool. I am. Parents, if you aren't doing this alongside your kid, you should be, because it's very meditative. I am a believer that when we make stuff, and get into that creative mindset, a lot of our problems can sort of recede from our head for a little while. So it's a nice break. It's a mental break, you guys. So take it. Let's do something here. And these, you know, you don't have to be precise with this. Doodles are the best. I'm a big doodler. In fact, I'm not a really big drawer. Even though I love creative projects, I don't particularly feel the best as a drawing artist. I'm more of a pattern person and a doodler. Now I am not, you can see that clearly I am not connecting the tick marks, but if you do some more of these, this is an example where I did connect all the tick marks and I drew these continuous designs. So there's just different ways you can approach this project. Let's add a little bit more, and then I want to move on to the next part, because I really could sit here and draw all day, or doodle all day. All right. And if you are doodling, go ahead and make sure, you know, a couple different sized pens. Pen tips are great. If you have different pen widths, it adds just another layer of detail. I mean, it looks cool to have this really thick line and the really thin lines. And let's put some little, how about some circles? Polka dot type circles in these. And let's see what else. Oh, how about some of this? I'm going to finish this up, you guys. I hope your design is coming along pretty well too. So this is my warning to you guys to wrap up this part so we can start folding. If you make more of these later, go ahead and, like I said, spend as much time as you want on the design part. I'm going to, what am I do? I'm going to add a little design in here. This is the only one that's like this though, so that's okay. All right, let me add this and then I'm gonna start cutting. So finish it up, you guys. Okay. And that's the last one. Whoops. All right, I think that's it for me. You know what? It's not it for me. So you can just keep going with these. All right, I'm gonna put my pens away, finish up your drawings, and let's start on the folding. And this is the part where you're probably gonna need to pay close attention to, okay? I will try to do this slow. All right, I'll try to do this very slow, but it's not, okay. It's not easy, so we'll do it as slow as we can, and then once you kind of understand it, it's actually, you'll be like, oh, that's not that hard. But at first it does feel a little bit complicated. All right, so when your template is ready, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut along this very thick outer line. And again, if you're doing this later, all the directions are here on the template. But it's always easier to see it. So let's cut along here. And I'm gonna make sure, oh good, that's all in there, cool. I just need to make sure that you guys can see all this. Cut this little triangular piece of the tab out. And here we go. I also have some video of this on my blog, on the post that I will drop the link in, and it's on my YouTube channel. But the YouTube channel, I go really quickly through the directions, which is why I believe I get so many questions. All right, so you should have this right now. All right, are you ready? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna fold along these dashed lines. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish. That one you're just gonna fold on the tabs. Six lines. And we're gonna fold it face to face, okay? So, the easiest way to do this is actually to fold it in half and sort of match those triangular tip points. And this is where I talk about, give that a good folding. Make it crisp with your fingernail. Perfect. Open it back up and then just keep folding. Okay, so again, if you want to match the triangle tips, that is helpful. Okay, open it up. Same thing. And if it's not, yeah, you want to kind of get the triangle part needs to be, that point is the point at which it needs to be creased. Open it back up. Now I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing. This one's a little harder because you have the tabs kind of getting in your way, so it's not as easy, quite as easy to line up. There we go. Now, the reason you're seeing my design on the back, you're probably not seeing yours. That's just because I used those alcohol-based markers and they bleed, like I mentioned. So, and here we go. Okay, so once you have your folds, and then I'm going to fold my tabs. Actually, these tabs I'm going to fold backward, okay? So this is what you should have now. You should have it something that's like this, okay? You folded on all of these lines, okay? All right, and now we open it back up. This is the strange thing about this project because you open it up multiple times, you fold. So what we're really trying to do is crease it so that it can bend, so that the paper can actually bend. And so to do that, you do this whole series of folding. So now we're gonna turn it over and we're gonna, well actually before I turn it over, we're gonna fold along every single diagonal line. But we're gonna do it in stages. So we're gonna take it from one direction at a time. So you're gonna turn it over and you're gonna start folding it. So this time you're gonna start seeing your designs. And it's a little easier because now you can actually see the line on your template. Whoops, boy, I didn't do a very good job of that one. Okay, so you're gonna fold and then you're gonna keep folding it back. Parents, this is where your kids might need a little bit of help. Okay, kids, if you're doing this and you're having a little bit of trouble, go ahead and ask your mom or dad to just help you fold it. Sometimes just doing a couple, some of the longer folds are easier actually than some of the tighter ones, so just do what you can. And then we're gonna keep folding it. I'm gonna make it crisp again. And then my last fold is this one in this direction. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I've folded it, all the diagonals in one direction. Now I'm gonna fold these ones. Okay, so we're gonna turn it over again, and we're gonna fold along those lines. Okay, same thing. So fold it, get the basic fold down, and once you know it's on the line, drag your fingernail across there to get a crisp fold. If it's easier, sometimes I turn it around and do it that way, so I don't have to fold as big a section back. And there we go. All right, that's what you guys should have right now. I'm gonna take a peek. Okay, oh good. I can't read your questions, but my co-teacher Tammy is on today, so go ahead and drop questions if you have them in there, and she will try to answer them, or drop them and I will try to get to them after the video is done. All right, so here's what we're gonna do next. Now you have your paper, everything's folded properly. Now we're gonna actually put this together. So grab your glue stick. Now this requires a little bit of patience because these work best when the glue is actually fully dry. So we're gonna make it, and even though mine's not fully dry, I'm gonna show it to you guys. But anyway, you're gonna take your glue stick and you're gonna glue along here, the parts that say glue. It's pretty obvious, right? If you have rubber cement at home, I know that's kind of an old school art material. It actually works really well because it dries fast and it's kind of flexible. But I know that most people don't have it anymore. So a regular glue stick works just fine. Also a note on the papers, you can use, so I just use regular paper, which makes for a very flexible Flextangle, but cardstock makes for a more durable one, but you have to really get in there and make those lines crisp. It's a little harder. So that's, if you're older and you have cardstock at home, that'd be something to try because you get a more durable Flextangle. Okay, so I added the glue, and this is the part kind of that everyone gets confused at. So now I'm gonna take it, turn it over, and I'm going to make a paper snake. So I'm going to match up gently the triangle, this triangle part to this edge, and there's actually a dot. If you look on the template, it's dot to dot. After you've cut it, it's sometimes hard to see the dots, but they're there. And then you're gonna, this is, the reason it's a little hard is because now you have to kind of make sure that you're, you have to lightly, very lightly press on the paper in order to get it to stick together, because you can't really press down too hard on the part that has the glue, but you want to have like this paper snake, okay? That's what you should have right now, all right? And the last step, for this step, I want you to get a couple tabs of tape already, or ready for yourself. I glue this step, and then I usually end up taping it. On my template, it says just to glue, but honestly, most people need to tape it. So we're gonna add a little bit of glue to these end tabs, and this is, I think, is the part that trips people up a little bit, because it's really hard to press this into this little end. But you're gonna take the ends of your snake and you're gonna wrap it down. You're gonna try to fold this over, and you're gonna try to insert that tab into the other end, like that. Now, this is where I say, just go ahead and tape it. Make your life a little easier. If you had rubber cement, it does, set up pretty fast, and so it's okay, but go ahead and tape it. You can lightly drag your fingernail across that tape to kind of press it down to burnish it a little bit, okay? And now I do need to tape the other edge. So gently rotate this until you see the other edge that needs to be taped. And do the same thing. Now let's not get crazy and rotate these yet, even though I want to, and I know you want to. Actually, see, I didn't quite insert mine totally properly here. Should be okay. So the thing about these Flextangles is you really need to sort of rotate them slowly first. So we need to prime the paper. We need to get the paper kind of loosened up, okay? So what you can do is just sort of slowly rotate it. And if your glue hasn't dried like mine hasn't, you might get the tabs popping up a little bit. So just go ahead when that happens and kind of gently burnish it with your fingertips. And then after you've rotated it a little bit, a few times, and after the glue is fully dry, you should be able to rotate these quicker, okay? So there you go. How cool is that? This project amazes me every single time. If you turn it over, you get kind of a different design. I don't know if you realize that. It's hard to see on this one because I did a centered design. But like on this one, it's, you know, you can see the center here. Looks like kind of a bullseye design, but if I turn it over, it ends up being the edges, not a bullseye. The edges are what's colored. So depending on how you're rotating it, the direction, you'll get a different look, okay? Pretty cool, right? I want to make this one, but I think that it would take a while. I will make this one later and probably put it up on the blog. Curious how these lines where I really did follow that tick mark, how that works. Anyway, that's the project. So again, let's go over those troubleshooting tips. So the biggest questions I have is, I think sometimes people don't print the template properly and they're missing some of these things get cut off. The other thing I think is that step where we pull the tabs, the snake, and put it together is a little bit complicated, and tape does really help. And lastly, really priming this to make the paper able to flex a little easier is important, because if you don't do it, and the whole thing will really fall apart. It will kind of pop apart. The nice thing about these is they're pretty forgiving, so if things start popping apart, like I have a little piece here that looks like it could use a little more glue, just re-glue it. And there you go. If you guys make these, I would absolutely love it if you put it on like Instagram or something, or your mom or dad puts it on their Instagram account, you guys, tag Flextangles. There's some really cool examples out there. And they're fun to see, and I'd love to see what you guys do. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around. All right. Okay, hi. Oh, I lost a few people, but that makes sense because it's a long process. But a lot of you are still here, so I applaud you for staying with me on this one, because this is, you know, Friday I did this really simple project that was over like that, like in 15 minutes I was done. And this one I was thinking, oh man, we're gonna start off the week with a complicated one, but you guys did it. You survived this. Anyways, yes, Janet, you can absolutely, like, I have seen like Pokemon versions of this for all those Pokemon fans out there. I've seen a lot of different versions. You could put messages on here. Once you've made a few of these, you can really get a sense of where your designs need to be in order to make a continuous design. I think that's probably the more complicated thing to think about, but that's also one of the cool things you could really try to do. I have a printable version that I made years ago for a Christmas card version, and man, getting the designs, even like digital designs, to line up was a challenge. So you guys, if you're up for it, do it. It could be really cool to see you kind of try to come up with a continuous design and then see if you can draw it flat in this pattern. All right, well, that's it for today, you guys. So I hope that you got the guide. I hope that you got this guide already. I'm gonna turn my lights off because it's shining right in my face. For all our printable activities, this template is in there, like I said, if you're doing this. There's also a walkthrough card, which is kind of a fun project. If you didn't know, can you walk through a greeting card? You have to try it. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff in there. And I hope that it keeps you guys busy this week. So I will be back tomorrow. I will be sharing our project, the materials that you'll need via email tomorrow morning. So if you aren't on my email list, I'll drop that link in the description below, and I hope that you'll get on that list so that you can join us tomorrow again at 1 for another tutorial. All right, you guys, I hope you're staying safe. Give your kids a hug. Kids, give your mom and dad a hug. They need one. I know they do. And I will see you guys back tomorrow. Bye.